much, Daya Bhai, or should I call you Data Bhai today? Because I think the spelling is almost the same. And we are talking about data protection. So it starts with Dayaji. I think it's not coincidence that the alphabets almost are the similar. And you are truly the data man. So thank you, Daya Bhai, for moderating this session. Most respected chairman of the Banking and Finance Services Committee, under whose purview the banking, the financial services, as well as the insurance sector lie. And somebody who's been trying very hard to make sure how we can give out the best services to our chartered accountant members. It may be in the banking era or even in financial services, other aspects. We are friends in the verge of finalizing certain sessions that will deal with the Atmanirbhar Bharat package that was recently announced, the banking opportunities that lie there, and also the challenges that industries are currently facing, specifically the MSMEs with regards to banking, finance, and insurance. So thank you, Chairman, for organizing this seminar and giving us this opportunity. Um, I think you have set the tone right, like Dayabai mentioned, and Dayabai has laid out the importance of data. What can I say? Well, first of all, we all have to realize that the banks and the financial institutions operate in a highly regulated industry. What does that mean? That a bank, to open a bank or to open a NBFC is not the same as to open any manufacturing company. In India, if you were to open a company in 99% of the industries, even if you were to bring foreign direct investments, you can do it through automatic route today. So it's open for anybody, not just an Indian, but a foreigner to come and set up shop in India. But if it is to be done in the banking era, it is the most regulated industry where you need permissions from RBI, the finance ministry, and the chain runs a lot deeper. Why is it so? It is because that this banking and financial and the insurance sector are the backbone of our country. You've all heard say that in today's world, the economy has to revive. The banking sector, the NBFC sector, the financial institutions have to pay their biggest role and biggest part has to be in terms of recovery has to be played by them. That is because they are the foundation of the economy. And because of this foundational role, clients of these banks inherently trust financial institutions. And this puts a tremendous onus on them to be trustworthy, to follow the rules to the T. And what do I mean when I say that? That it is not just incumbent upon them to keep your money safe as banks or as financial institutions, but more critical is to keep your data safe. Because in today's world, when we are all sitting, especially let's remember the last 2 months that we would have had, or the period prior to the lockdown, there is one person who probably knows more about you than even your spouse is probably your bank. Because when you leave your house and you take a Uber, you are making a payment, your bank knows you've taken Uber. You're going into a restaurant, you're making the bill payment, the bank knows at that very moment which restaurant you are in. For all you care, they also know what is your food preferences, because they may also be the bankers of that hotel, and they may know what are the invoices, what are the forms that are giving. Going forward, if you fly and take a ticket and I visit, let's say, Jaipur to meet Prakashji, the bank is going to know that I've taken a ticket and flown to Jaipur, where I stay, what I do, who I meet. All of this is exposed. So bank is not just custodian of your money, but more importantly, custodian of your data. And have we actually realized this? As chartered accountants, we are doing our bank audits, we are doing the branch audit, the central statutory audit. We are probably doing the concurrent audits and a lot of other data security audits. But have we realized that the future is not going to be just securing the money of depositors? It is also going to be securing the trust of these depositors, the account holders. And how can you secure the trust? I feel it is going to be through data protection. Because if this data is open and exposed, if the bank tomorrow decides that I want to sell this data and the travel information, for example, of a celebrity, and you would be interested in what does the celebrity do, where does he eat, what is his preference points, where does he go on vacation. If you know all of that data, there are people who are willing to pay for it. So not just it is incumbent upon them to protect their money, but also their data. And one of the simplest way is to keep the data protected. I think this is not underscored enough, is to keep everybody informed. Let the other person know that, yes, this is the data. This is what we hold for you. You all will recollect and remember, if you go to any international website, you will always see that cookies alert which comes up on the website and says, we are storing certain data of yours. What are cookies on websites? It is nothing but your search preferences, how you are browsing through, because based on that, if you have gone through a Flipkart website and looked at air conditioners, as soon as you move on to some other website, you will see that the air conditioner ads still keep coming to you. How does that happen? That is because these cookies are stored as data. So that data is critical information. And if as a user, you do not know that this is happening and my internet when I am using it simply to browse. I may have just sat with friends in an evening and said, summer vacation pe hum log chalte hain London, and you searched for London hotels, London places to do, things to do. Immediately, the websites that you visited know that you are interested in going to London. In fact, if you went to a travel website and look for dates, they actually know when are you planning to go to London even before you pay for it. And that becomes extremely critical, because if you want to go there to get away from everything, where is your privacy? Where is the data? If that data is leaked and people already know you are going to stay at this hotel, land on this flight, I think it's going to be a different ball game. So very critical to understand how it gets monetized. What is also important to understand, I believe, and Dayaji will, I think, bear me out on this, is that data is the new oil and gas. It is the new, basically the backbone of every business. No longer companies are valued on the basis of how many people you have or how much turnover you do. Companies are today actually valued on the basis of the data that you have. Why do you think a Swiggy was able to give you a same food which you had to go, take your own car, spend your own time, go to the restaurant, pay the full price and get the food back home and eat? He's giving you at a cheaper price, delivering it from his resource, incurring the expense of traveling, of packaging, and still giving it to you cheaper. It is because they know your data, they know your preferences. So the next time at 7 o'clock, you will have a pop-up saying it's Tuesday and you want Chinese. How about trying this Chinese restaurant? And as soon as you order that Chinese, Swiggy gets 20% of that food. That is the value of data. And the biggest example, friends, we have today, what we can discuss, I think last 1 month, we have all seen that lockdown, we have all thought that is going to be liquidity crunch. There is going to be a problem of money. One company which is run against the wind is Reliance. And it is not because of its old oil and gas business or the OTC, the oil to chemical business. That is still there. But the biggest valuation, the biggest checks that they are cashing in is because of the Geo platforms. And what is Geo? Geo is data. It is not only providing you internet, but it also has access to what you are doing. And think about this 1.3 billion people, their data, what are their preferences, what time do this internet of things, what time do you turn on the switch, what time do you turn on the air conditioner? Every single data point of yours is going to be with the company, and that data has tremendous financial value. So now that I've set the tone for you to understand the importance of data, the role of chartered accountants, the role of us as auditors, that is where it kicks in. And I'm glad that we are able to do this session today, because as chartered accountants, in the future, we will not just be expected to give assurance to third parties, to all stakeholders on financial information, but we will also have to give assurance, I believe, regarding the integrity of data, and whether the companies or the banks or the financial institutions are making sure that they have enough firewalls in place to protect this data, to make sure that it is not monetized in the wrong way. Because there are so many fictional films that we would have seen where this data, if it's loosed, you can actually lose your identity. You can become a person, you can become a stateless person in the country that you state. Your Aadhaar number somebody has, your PAN number somebody has. If somebody goes and just fudges that data and changes the photo, we will be left, with a very grave situation. So I think understanding all of this, what data is, where all data gets consumed, how it gets monetized, and finally, what role chartered accountants can play in preventing this, as well as creating opportunities for ourselves, that we provide assurance services, as well as ensure that the data protection bill, which is coming in the future, that also has. So lawyers will always have, Tripti ji and Gajendra ji, I apologize for saying this, but see, lawyers will always have their opportunity. The Insolvency Act, we felt, was a big turnaround for our chartered accountant friends. Actually, it is the advocates who made the maximum amount of professional opportunity out of it. And why not? That is how it should be. It is an act, end of the day, and law is where the lawyers come in. But in this bill also, how we as chartered accountants can also play our part, I think it is the right time for us to start working on that. We have lawyers who have started working on it. But as chartered accountants, have we actually thought about this? Are we ready to take up the challenge of data privacy, and data protection? I think if we have the first movers advantage, as in the case of insolvency, some of our professional friends have done very well. Even in the case of data protection, framing the data privacy policy, a robust environment, auditing, providing assurance on these privacy risks, if all of that can be envisaged and sold in the form of an assurance service to our clients, I believe that's going to be a huge opportunity in the future. I hope that the two faculties. Rather, I'm extremely confident that they'll be able to take us through all of these opportunities that lie for chartered accountants, give us a framework of the data protection with case studies, with actual happenstances of what has happened in the real world scenario with data leakages and how the data has been manipulated. But I would also finally request what is there for chartered accountants. If you can cover that also, Gajendra ji and Tripti ji, I think it will be extremely benefiting for our audience. With this address, I thank once again our Honorable Chairman Prakash ji for conducting and organizing this seminar, sir. Thank you for your vision. And a special thanks to Dayabhai, who's the moderator and I think the architect behind this session. Thank you very much.